Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Rob.
I'm Joan. Sorry about that. That was not my fault for a change.
I think it was something because of the storms.
Okay, we'll go with that.
There you go. Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. And we're so glad that you're in our audience today. Whether you're watching live or you're listening later on, we're thrilled that you chose to be in our audience, and we appreciate it. Please go to our YouTube and like, share, comment, and comment here. We love your comments. It's what makes our show outstanding is the audience participation.
The important thing to do on YouTube is subscribe.
Okay, subscribe.
We need subscribers.
We do. It's really too bad. Our son-in-law is the YouTube influencer, and so I think he just cries. He cries when he looks at our numbers.
Or he laughs. I don't know. One of the two.
Both, I think.
Yeah, could be.
Connie Clary says,
hi,
hello, everyone. Hi, Connie. We're so glad you're here. Joe Conjal says, hi, Rob and Joan. Hi, Joe. We're glad you're in the audience. Chris Chrisman says, hello, Rob and Joan, and hi, Paul Hollis. Paul Hollis is backstage, but he can hear you. He can hear you. And Marjorie Daring says, present. Hi, everyone. Hi, Marjorie. We're glad that you could make it. Oh, I'm losing comments.
That wasn't the storm, I don't think.
Yeah. Connie Clary said, hi, Rob and Joan. And also she said, hey, Paul. And Connie said, hello to Chris. And Zena Hermes said, hi, Paul. And he can hear you, Zena. He'll be on in just a minute. This is a lot of hellos. Chris Chrisman says, hello, everyone.
Talk amongst yourselves. We'll catch up with you later.
No, we do like it. Joe Conjal says, hi, Paul. Connie Clary says, hi, Marjorie. Chris Chrisman says, YouTube building subscribers is hard and a long time thing.
So far, it has been. Yeah. You're right.
Our son-in-law had over 15,000 subscribers in the first year that he was on. So not for everyone, apparently. Chris says, I'm everywhere. Ignore the other Chris. LOL. Okay, Chris, we will.
Oh, yeah, the one on YouTube. He must be your alter ego. Yeah.
The one on YouTube has a lot of subscribers.
Chris Chrisman on YouTube?
Chris Chrisman on YouTube has a lot of 35,000 or something.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm. He's no slouch.
Well, same old. Visit, go to, I can't even talk.
I know.
I must go camping or something. I need a break. Voice of Indie podcast right after this show, Blog Talk Radio, Gary G's and Beam Weeks. There's a little tutorial at the end of our show that tells you how to get over there. This Saturday, episode rewind right here, same place that you're watching. It's 5:30 Eastern Time, 4:30 Central Time, 3:30 Mountain Time, 2:30 Pacific Time. How about that? This week, it's Michael Scott Clifton. And Thursday, tomorrow night, Haunted Campfire Tales Live. We'll be hosting that. Our Tampa Bay Spirits will be hosting that. 7:30 Eastern Time. You can go to Tampa Bay Spirits Facebook page and watch there. And you can go to tampabayspirits1.com if you want to catch up on any of our old episodes. Tomorrow night, we're going to be talking about post-tsunami hauntings, which there are a lot of.
And I can't promise that there will not be any tears, because I think there'll be more than one person crying.
There you go.
It's really sad.
Next week, we'll have Paul Rushworth Brown again live from Australia joining us. That's October 4th. And then let's see here. New things coming up. New releases. Just remind everybody. Pringle Prawn by Mike Clifton was just released. The Shaman by Joseph Caribas. That'll be out. It's out for pre-order on September 30th. Claire's Island, Becca L. Jones, and Second Chances by Joe Conjal. I almost said it wrong again. Sorry, Joe.
And wait a minute. Joe Conjal said Voice of Indy is rebroadcasting their show with Caleb tonight.
Yes.
Yep.
I saw that. So
yeah.
It'd be a good one to catch for sure.
Speaking of crying.
Yeah. Now, here's some more news for you. George Dismukes is working on a new project in the Jaguar series, for all of you that are fans of the Jaguar series that he writes.
Our daughter Patricia will be thrilled.
Definitely. Part 4 is called The Return of the Jaguar. And a little snippet on that is Brandon, Andrea, Naja, and 2 SEAL team members form an alliance with the tribe of Yanomami to help them rescue two children who are political prisoners. They're actually the children of the Presidente of San Peralta in South America. The children are being held at a compound deep in the jungle of Brazil. Somehow they have to get past high fences, guard towers, and train guard dogs. But that's something to look forward to. He's just working on it now. He said he's coming along pretty good. He's going to be done with it fairly soon. So that's something to look forward to.
And also, before we go on any further, some of you may know Robert White. He's one of our listeners. He's often in the audience. He's from Australia. He's a farmer there. And he unfortunately had to have his leg amputated from just below the knee. So I know that he'll be listening to this at some time. And so this is a shout out to you, Rob, so that you know that we're thinking of you and praying for you and all the good wishes and happy healing and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, for sure. Okay.
Let's bring Paul on.
That's right. We have a guest, don't we?
We do.
Yeah. He's back there eating peanuts in the green room.
No, he's not.
Hi, Paul, how are the peanuts back there?
Oh, they're good. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Fresh baked.
Only the best. Only the best. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I would assume you guys are tired of me by now. So.
No, never.
Do we sound tired?
No, we're never tired of you, Paul. It's always fun to have you on the show. Oh, this is for Robert White. Connie Clary says all the best, good vibes and all that good stuff. Yeah, amen.
Right.
Yeah, that was a shock. He got a sore on the heel of his foot, and it got infected, and they tried to use various types of antibiotics to get rid of it, and it didn't. It went to the bone. Once it got into the bone, it shot right up his leg, and they finally had to do it all the way up to just below the knee. And he's a farmer, so God bless him, right? That's going to be rough.
That is.
All right.
So what's new with Paul Hollis?
Oh my gosh. This summer I've been busier than a blind guy at a nudist colony.
Please explain to me how busy a blind guy. would be no, don't.
I'm just feeling my way through it. But you can just cut that out, right? You can edit that out.
Sure, it's a live show. We'll use
so
magic.
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Yeah. Yeah, so many things going on. It's hard to keep up with them. I need a pencil nowadays to just keep everything in order. So
yeah, you're really busy. Paul Rushworth Brown says, hi, Rob, Joan. Paul Rushworth Brown, all the way from Sydney. Hello. Glad to see you, Paul. Hey, yeah. Yeah, you had us on the show that you co-host on with Neil Haley. I'm not good at names.
Neil Haley. Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, I'm just trying to help our fellow authors out, to get a wider
audience
that maybe has never heard of us before and all that sort of thing, but just to get that out to him. The podcaster has like 5 million viewers per week, so one or two of them got to catch on and understand, know about us, so anybody who's interested in getting on a 15-minute podcast that'll go across the world, basically, let me know and we'll get you on there and get some extend your audience, basically.
Yeah. Chris Chrisman says podcasts are the current way to go. Yeah, they are. They're fun.
Yeah. See, just like this one. See, the way to go. This is the number one.
Paul Rushworth Brown says, yes, please. He would like to be on.
Cool.
Yep. So if you don't know how to get in touch with Paul, we can let you.
Yeah, I think I've got his emailer.
I think you probably should. Yeah.
Yeah.
Connie Clary says, yep.
Okay,
and that's right.
Deal.
Yes, it is.
So, and but other than that, I got on my dream horse. Not my high horse, because there's no such thing. I have short legs. But I did get on my dream horse and start getting my books put on audio, which is I think has turned out really fantastic. And so I've got 2 of them out currently, and the third one is planned for October. So the whole series up to that point, because I've got another book in progress as well to come along with a 4th book at that interval, probably next spring sometime we'll have that out. So really busy, and I've also started publishing books, and so a lot to talk about. So I'm gonna follow your lead as what interests you.
Well, you are now a book publisher yourself, and so I'm sure but everyone, okay, I just want to let you know who wants to be on the show with you and Neil. You ready? All right.
Yeah.
So Chris Chrisman. Yeah.
Okay.
Marjorie Deering. And as we said, already Paul Rushworth Brown wants to. Paul Rushworth Brown has a question for you. Paul, if you would give younger novel self a piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh,
and we've known Paul forever. And Paul, this is Paul Rushworth Brown. We have known Paul Hollis forever. And
this is confusing.
Yes, it is. And he gave us a lot of advice. He was the first person that we went to when we first started writing, and he was a big help.
Oh, great. Well, thank you for that. The advice I would give to a young writer is to write. Start writing that book. Don't worry about your family not liking it or readers not liking it. Write the book that you want to write, that you feel that you want to read, basically. So put it on paper, and then get it finished, and then send it to an editor. And editors are another story, tall and short. But basically, you are the boss of any edits as an author. So do your best to understand that the editor's primary goal is to raise your novel to another level, basically. Most do that, some don't, but each one of the edits that an editor makes, you're the boss to go ahead and either accept it or don't accept it, basically, because you don't want to change your voice. You want to tell the story that you want to tell in your own voice, and I don't mean speaking voice. I mean the voice that how you write, and get it published, even if it's a self-publishing thing, because those are basically easier for us as a self-publishing. If you're going to the top five, or what they call the big five, I guess, publishers, those can take 2 to 3, 4 years after you find an agent who are really the gatekeepers. So yeah, I mean, it's your choice. Either go after that or you go for that. But the primary point is write your book. Don't keep saying, gee, I ought to start it. Just write it.
Paul's already written 3 books, I believe. I think
mm-hmm.
he just did his 3rd one, and he's from Australia, and he does historical novels, and they've been really well received. So
yeah.
But Paul Rushworth Brown says, yes, he would like to hook up with you and Neil and Chris Chrisman and Marjorie Deering, and Joe Conjal would like you to talk to him about that too. And then Joe wanted to know, did you record your own Paul?
I did not. With my voice, it would be way more of a comedy than I had intended to do. So no, I did not do it. I hired a professional. His name is Gary Spangler. So if you all are interested, but he's a marvel with voices, and I just incredibly keeps amazing me at the things that he can do with his voice. So, and I think we might even have a couple of shorts on that to actually play for y'all, so you can see kind of what his quality is. But if you're interested in that, there are tons and tons of people out there who are very interested, female voices and male voices, and you can, if you can actually split. If you have 2 protagonists, male and a female, you can have 2 people doing the thing. So there's all kinds of creative ways that you can make your book come to life and make it powerful.
Some people do it like the old time radio shows with all kinds of sound effects besides the people
we have
talking.
Some sound effects, but I don't think you want me to use them.
No, right. I do not want him to use the sound effects.
We've got some great sound effects. We've got audience.
He loves them. I'm not a big fan myself,
just a couple
so
clicks
we don't
away,
use them.
We can have
no, we really don't know who's interested in that.
Yeah, yeah. So
I mean, I think it would be funny.
I don't think Gary used any sound effects in mine. In fact, he in one place in the first book, there's a siren that goes wee wee wee. He says, "I'm not doing that." So
leave it to your imagination, right?
I can't imagine why you would want to do that.
Honestly, when I read a book, I am not going wee 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 in my mind as I'm reading anyway.
No, but how about a drum roll? Wouldn't that be good? Well, I think our audience thinks it would.
No, the audience doesn't think that.
They do. Chris Chrisman says it.
No, he doesn't.
He says he wants a drum roll.
Paul Rushworth Brown said, he did just say that.
He did.
Paul Rushworth Brown said, I find that difficult because I like to make my stories as authentic as possible. I like them to sound somewhat Old English. I'm sure you can find someone who can do that, Paul. I'm sure you can.
Yeah. They can change their voices. Good ones, the versatile ones can change their voice, and you'll hear some of that as we play 1 or 2 minutes of the books for you. But yeah, there's definitely, if you want it to be like an old style voice, definitely these people can do it. I mean, they can do it
for real. Yeah. Joe Conjal says, Rob, every time I comment, use the audience sound effect, please.
That's what I'm saying. That would be great.
Hearing for Joe Conjal. And Marjorie Deering actually has a serious question. Thank God. Any idea how the sales of audiobooks stack up against ebooks and paperbacks?
I do, both from a statistical standpoint, which which basically you all know that statistics will match anything I say, right? So
absolutely, because statistics are an absolute fact. I know this. My brother and I have talked about it many times.
Exactly, right, and they support whatever you're talking about.
Exactly.
And the other thing is from my personal experience, which is probably more important. Yes, I'm selling way more audiobooks than I am regular ebooks or paperbacks, and I think it's because of our acquired ability as a society to multitask, and we can listen to our books while we are driving or mowing the grass or washing the dishes or whatever you want to do, or probably not watching TV. That wouldn't be a good thing, but a good combination. But yeah, I think it has to do with that. I personally have been listening to audiobooks back as far as when they were just for blind people. And so it's back in the 80s and 90s, I had, they used to be on discs and 8-tracks and stuff like that in those days. And I would get them and listen to them because who has time to read, right? So,
and now you can get them at the library to listen to. Too.
Yeah. It's beginning to be a big thing, and I hope y'all listeners, you can take advantage of listening to books, because they really grab you at another level and thrust you right into the book, right into the contents of it, and you've probably heard that with like Stephen King novels. When he reads his, it's like, holy crap, he scares the daylights out of me. Rather than when I read it, it's like, yeah, okay, fine. I mean, it's like, okay, you got a ghost coming out of the wall, but he puts you right into the novel, and I hope that's one thing that I have done as well with my writing, is to put people right in the novel with me, so that they can experience what I experienced at the same time. And I think this audiobook for me has gone to another level and really put the people that are reading or listening, in this case, into the novel themselves, right there on the streets of Paris or wherever we're at.
Our audiobooks sell more than the ebook or paperback, and also we make more money off of each sale because they charge a lot of money for audiobooks.
Yeah, you do. I mean, you do.
Our
make
royalties are higher.
You do make more money. Yeah, right.
Yeah, which isn't bad.
Which is all good for us writers. Yeah.
Joy Shelton, New York, right up there, says, "Sorry I'm late. Hello all." Hi, Joy.
Hi, Joy.
Hi, Joy.
Go ahead. You were going to say something?
Yeah, I think we need to take our first break.
Oh my gosh, already?
Thinking about, people making money. So I think we probably
our sponsors actually pay us to actually play this.
There you go. All right. So we will take a short break and we'll be back. So don't go anywhere.
Yeah. We'll be right.
It's 1919 and Eric Laska returns from the war in Europe. 2 new enemies await him in the small coal mining town he calls home. One is a threat to his relationship with Rebecca, the love of his life. The other, a bloodthirsty beast, is stalking the mining town residents. The townspeople suspect Eric of one of the killings. An old man and Rebecca's 11-year-old sister have seen the beast, but only Eric believes their story. To protect the town and clear his name, he's forced to prove the werewolf exists. Available on Amazon. The Horror Within by Marjorie Swift Doring.
Paradise, my prison. Charlie Flint awakens from a deep sleep and finds himself alone on a tropical beach surrounded by a palm tree jungle and exotic animals. He cannot remember who he is or anything about his life. First, he must find food and build shelter and protect himself from hidden dangers. As his memory gradually returns, it reveals what a very flawed person he is. A man who made too many mistakes, made too many enemies. The implications of the truth are staggering. How did Charlie get there? And will he save himself? Paradise My Prison is the riveting new suspense thriller from retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Dismukes. Paradise My Prison by George Dismukes is available in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats worldwide.
And we're back.
We're back.
Thank you, everybody. All right.
Well, let's do this. This will be a little different. Why don't we play your trailer for Hollow Man?
Okay.
And then you can talk about Hollow Man a little bit, and we can play a snippet from that you wanted to play.
Okay, you're in the book.
Does that sound like a good thing to do?
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
Good way to proceed. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here's the Hollow Man.
A terrorist plot. The assassination of a prime minister holds the key to an apocalyptic plot to destroy Europe's economy. It's impossible to stop, but one man doesn't know enough to think the world can't be saved. He's no hero, not clever or capable, talented or tested. The Hollow Man is just trying to survive in an uncertain climate where terrorism is changing the rules of how we live. The Hollow Man, written by Paul Hollis, narrated by Gary Spangler. Download your copy wherever audiobooks are sold.
Okay, so that was your first venture into writing, right?
It was, yeah, the Hollow Man. Yeah.
It was not your first trailer. I remember your first trailer.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. This one was probably a little bit more professional than the one I did, but
I loved the one that you
The
did.
first one was really good.
It really was. We have a lot of comments here. Let's see.
thank you.
Joy.
George
Hey!
Ticketin.
George Dismukes is finally here. He was having trouble getting in.
He was having trouble with his computer.
Chris Christman said, great visual commercials. Yes, they are. They are. And George Dismukes says, finally, damn, he had a terrible time getting in. We already talked about your book that you've got in the works. George, I'm sorry you missed that. Joy Shelton New York says, great trailer. That's a very
well done. Yeah,
very
I like
well
it.
done. Connie Clary says, wicked. Paul Rushworth Brown says, great work. Marjorie Daring says, terrific. Your new one is too, Marjorie. I like
Yeah,
it.
they did a good job on that
Yeah.
one.
Zena Hermes says, love it. Yeah, it's great. It is really great. I loved your first one too. I really did. I thought you did a great job on that.
Yeah, thank you.
So
Thanks.
the basic premise of the Hollow Man.
The basic premise is there's a how do you explain this? There's a guy that I was following for a while. I followed him from Paris to as the pre-story to this, Paris to Madrid, and he actually went for a different purpose, a purpose that I didn't know about at the time, and that was to help the CIA basically get rid of the Prime Minister of Spain, who was the soon-to-be heir to Francisco Franco's country. And so he was blown. So they dug out the street underneath underneath the street actually, and filled it with dynamite. And when the Prime Minister's car came along, it blew up. And since the car was armored, it didn't kind of blow the car apart. It just blew it over a 5-story church into the courtyard on the other side, on the next street. And that starts the adventure of like, how did because I was assigned to watch this guy to understand what he was doing, the Prime Minister, basically. So then I had to try to find out what happened to him, basically, and follow this guy that was a terrorist all the way back to Paris through lots of France and back and forth back to to Spain, etc. So, and finally, the epilogue basically it was in Paris, and that where we kind of met face to face finally. So,
would you call this a fictionalized memoir?
Yeah, I guess that's not what I meant it to be, but it turned out to be that. And
historical fiction,
probably 80% of it's about 90% true from my perspective. Always remember that, from my perspective. 80% true. But there are some things that I couldn't quite remember word for word, so I kind of made up some things in there. But so that was wrong. But all the historical events that happened in there, the bombing of an airplane and those kinds of things, and the prime minister actually did get blown up, and I was just around the corner from that explosion. So yeah, it's kind of a semi-fictionalized. I wouldn't really call it a memoir because I didn't feel like I did all that much, but I mean,
and you swear you're not the one that blew up the car.
No, I was not. No, I didn't know that much about bombs at the time, but I definitely did learn.
So you said there was a favorite part, a favorite chapter that you had that you gave us a soundbite for. Do you want to set the scene for that?
Yeah.
We'll play the soundbite.
This is a you're about to hear a conversation between a Frenchman and a Spaniard over the consequence of not killing me prior to this conversation. So I mean, that's probably the best description we can do there. Okay. They're going back and forth of like basically what to do about getting rid of me.
And this is from your audiobook.
This is, yeah.
Right, from the Hollow Man audiobook.
Yep.
Chapter 11. You missed him again? The Frenchman screamed into the telephone. How many morons does it take to kill one idiot? In Pamplona, the target was not certain, so the shooter chose and fired. And 3 times he chose wrong? The boy was in disguise. Because of this, I used 2 in can to be sure. I found the woman dead in the forest this afternoon. Also, being an American, I thought she might... The caller stumbled. The other was less talented than his reputation suggested. I'm not spending any more time or money on amateurs. If I don't hear positive results within 24 hours, I'll send another, and this time he'll be looking for you. Do you understand me? Yes, sir. Let me explain, he said, ignoring the man's answer. This weekend, he'll come to your country cottage. Yes, the one near Orleans. He will gut the old caretakers in your kitchen. He'll sell your wife to recover my money if she's worth anything. He'll set your children on fire to keep warm while he digs out your soul and eats it. And when he finally lets you die, you will meet many others who have also failed me. Yes, sir. I'll go myself.
Well, that was scary.
Chapter 11.
Right.
Whoops, it's going to play again.
Sound autoplay.
What am I doing here?
I don't know what you're doing here.
Stop. Okay, there we go. Little technical problem there.
Okay, so Paul Rushworth Brown says that's so good, and it is. It's really good. That's from his audiobook. And see how nice that sounds?
That's awesome.
And that's that one person
listen, yeah,
using the separate voices. Connie Clary says nice, and Zena Hermes says wow, sounds great. Chris Chrisman says intense, love it. It is really intense. It'll burn your children and you can get warm.
Yeah, wonderful.
The irony of that, though, is that the guy said that the one that he sent was his whatever he said about his talents were less than his reputation were hold. I can tell you that for a fact, that's the guy that split open my hand with a knife, which I still have the scar on here. He was pretty talented to me.
Wow.
But apparently not to the Frenchman there. So
wow. And Joe Conjal said that was awesome, Paul. And
Thank you,
Joyce
Joe.
Shelton York said, wow, intense. What makes it really intense is this really did happen.
Right.
This happened to Paul Hollis. He was there.
Yeah.
He was that guy that idiot was supposed to kill.
Yeah.
Well, no, they were talking about the minister at that point, but he was after you too.
And yeah, they did have a few more shots at me, literally, until I got to Paris, and well, even after that, but until we get to the climax, which is basically well, I won't give it away. So you just have to listen to it or read it.
You probably told us before. Did you ever put on a fake mustache?
Yeah, sure, many times.
Yeah, he's talked about changing his like hair color with shoe dye.
No, not a Groucho nose. I probably grew up with those, I'm sure. but no, that and actually a beard, and I passed for like a 70-year-old, 65-year-old many times, and other times I did something as simple as change my color of my hair with shoe polish or something similar. Coffee grounds works really nice too as well. But, depends on what, whatever is at hand is what your weapon is basically back then. Right? So
there you go.
George Dismuke says, my third wife, and I believe he's talking about Deborah. He can correct me if I'm wrong. My third wife talked in different voices, but I think that is probably because there was more than one person in there. But this guy, what did you say his name was again? The guy who did your audiobook?
Gary Spangler.
Gary Spangler.
He's really talented.
Super talented. Yeah.
And Chris Christman says it's all true. And it is. That's all true while this really happened. And Marjorie Daring said what they all said.
Right.
And then Chris Christman said mostly yes, like Paul said.
In fact, I obviously was not in that scene, so I did actually make that up from what I learned later, basically, as to that. So, because the guy who went himself gets into a lot of trouble, and I learned some things from him. Yeah.
Why don't we tell people where they can reach Paul?
All right.
Then we'll talk about. We'll take a break, and then we'll come back and talk about London Bridge.
Okay.
I hear it's falling down.
My parents were there when they were trying to make it fall down. Yeah.
Your parents were trying to make the bridge fall down?
No, they weren't. They were there when the bad guys were trying to make it fall down. Okay, website. His website is thehollowmanseries.com, and that's TheHollowmanSeries. His Facebook, excuse me, is the Hollow Man Series. You can find him at Twitter as well, X-Twitter.
X-Twitter. I should have put
X, as was formerly known as Twitter, at Hollow Man Series. LinkedIn, Paul Hollis, author. And Paul Hollis, you spell PaulHollis. And his email is paul@thehollowmanseries.com.
Why don't we go ahead and do the giveaway?
The book giveaway.
As long as we're...
Yeah, and I do want to remind everybody, if you're listening to this as a podcast, go ahead and email Paul. You never know how many people did or didn't write in.
All right, the book giveaway, it's actually an audio book giveaway this time. The first 3 people to email paul@thehollowmanseries.com will win an audio book copy of choice. So go ahead and email him, paul@thehollowmanseries.com, and he'll be more than happy to send you a copy.
Yeah, and it'll be that that audio book, and you heard how entertaining that was from that little snippet.
Right.
And, you know, that'll be fun to listen to that.
Right. Okay. Let's take our last break here, and then we'll come back and talk some more.
Yep.
And we also want to talk to you about your publishing company.
Right.
Yeah.
Good deal.
For those people who don't know that Paul has started a publishing company, he'll tell you all about it.
Okay. Don't go away, folks.
We'll be right back.
The clock is ticking. Can Gracie uncover the truth?
Philip Pliant is the wealthy opportunist plastics dealer and CEO of Pliant Industries. He's also a master thief, creating a pervasive threat to the manufacturing infrastructure in the Caribbean islands markets. With the cartel as his stealth client, the naive city leaders have been seduced, enabling the production of more than three-dimensional building materials.
The expected profits are monstrous.
Is the art group, now led by Gracie and the family heirs, strong enough to win against this predator?
Can JJ's cats act on the root cause analysis in time?
Will Gracie be able to squash Pliant and the cartels?
Gracie never considered their lives would hang in the balance. The clock is ticking. 5, 4, 3.
Many secrets are hidden within the darkness of the jungle. Behold, this one about a man, a woman, a black jaguar, and an ancient Maya legend. Two Faces of the Jaguar is a novel by George Dismukes that will take you deep into the jungle and capture your imagination until the last word. Two Faces of the Jaguar is book one of a trilogy. Two Faces of the Jaguar, where only the adventurous dare to read.
Two Faces of the Jaguar, The Lost City, and The Jaguar's Quest are available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites. Two Faces of the Jaguar, the book people are talking about. Get your copy today.
Madison Jackson loved being a cop. A young girl is raped and murdered near Burnett Reservoir. Madison vows to get justice for the child. Madison travels to the heart of Mexican cartel country. She is kidnapped, tortured. Will Madison ever make it home? Justice by Kelly Marshall, only at Amazon.com.
And we're back.
Yeah. And Paul, for the people who are looking to get in touch with you about being on the Neil Haley show, okay, should they email you at your email address?
That would be great. That would be great, and if especially if I missed writing down their name, but yeah, please do.
I was just thinking that way, you know,
yeah,
more people can email you than just the people that said they were interested.
Yeah, you can email me. I'm very responsive to emails and call me if you'd like, or text. I've had the same number since 1995, since cell phones came out. So
I know.
So have at it. Everybody else in the world knows it, so you guys all ought to as well.
That's so funny.
Well,
Paul Rushworth Brown said he's already sent the email for the audio.
Thanks, Paul.
Why don't we go and listen to or watch your trailer for London Bridge?
Okay.
And get to it here. That's not it. Let's get down here to there. Here we go. Ready?
Here we go.
Here's the trailer for London Bridge is Falling Down. This is your second novel.
To tumultuous early 1970s, when Northern Ireland's troubles raged with unrelenting fury, the world's attention was fixated on the gruesome list of IRA targets. In this gripping historical thriller by Paul Hollis, London Bridge is Falling Down weaves a relentless tapestry of suspense, espionage, and treachery. As the IRA's deadly campaign escalates, a shadowy network of conspirators sets in motion to hijack the very lifeblood of England's economy, a plot that would send shockwaves throughout the Commonwealth. Amid the sirens and shattered glass of London streets, two individuals who straddle the line between right and wrong are drawn into a high-stakes game of survival, where only the most cunning and courageous will emerge victorious.
I love it.
Really well done.
That's really, really good.
Thank you. Thanks. I'll tell you one thing about that video that actually not a lot of people know. That I don't know if you saw where the guy was working on the bomb. What they used actually for timers in those days were the insides of the timer of a parking meter. Basically, where we would put here a quarter in and turn the dial, and it would count down until his time was over. It's exactly what they used in the IRA bombs at that time. Were the insides of parking meters. So all they had to do was turn it to the full amount of the 2 hours, and they had 2 hours to take the bomb where they wanted to and execute their plan. Basically.
Well,
Go ahead.
They already had a parking meter with them, so they could park anywhere they wanted.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I waited for him to say that.
That's true.
Chris Christmas says, very nice. Those were scary times. My parents really were there when they tried to bomb London Tower. And all right, I come from a Boston Irish Catholic family, which contributed to the IRA, I hate to say. And my father came home and said, wouldn't that have been funny if they'd been able to do it, because they would have taken out one of their own, him. And I said, no, that wouldn't have been funny. That wouldn't have been funny at all. And I can remember my brother and I talking to him and saying, they are terrorists. You do not give money to terrorists. But no, they're freedom fighters. We said,
potatoes.
You were it actually, whether you're a terrorist or not depends on people's point of view as to which side they're on and all that sort of thing. But you're talking about the Tower of London bombing. That's in the book. That's in the second book. So he was probably very close to me around there somewhere as well.
Yeah, they were both there. And he just thought that was, really funny. And I'm like, it's not funny. And we had quite a few discussions about whether the IRA were terrorists or freedom fighters. And it all depends on your point of view, but they are terrorists. Chris Christmas said a close friend was caught in an IRA bomb blast outside a bank in London. That's
scary times. But so the next little iteration, I think, of the voiceover, to set the stage for that, is that I'm just coming back to reality from being being too close to a bomb that went off in a car. So this is what it felt like when I came back.
Okay.
We're gonna hear this is from your audiobook on London Bridges
Falling Down. Yeah. Email for this one too.
Chapter 27. My head rolled in misery under the surface of a sea. Water filled my throat and nose until I couldn't breathe. There was a pounding in my hollow chest. I was suffocating. I knew it, but I couldn't stop myself from sinking deeper. My tenuous grasp turned to vapor, then I let go. The waves rose above me, and the light faded. A darkening shadow watched my body drift down with the current. I heard a voice, and my scared soul clung to it. The soft words bled through my remains and lifted me on its whisper. The sound turned into music, and I recognized my favorite song. It was Zita's voice, but the roar of the waves continued to crash in my ears, and her words dissolved again. I couldn't find her in the fog. I searched for hours, days, until the storms receded and the world began to calm. She called my name this time and brushed a finger across my cold cheek. A warming hand drew feathers on the skin, running away from my neck. I wanted to hold her, but I couldn't move. I struggled. I willed my eyes to open, but they held fast with more determination than I could muster against them. I watched my own battle from the gloom above the ceiling lights until there was no choice except to reach and open my lids with invisible fingertips. I lay captive in an empty hull of bone and blood. When I touched my face, a spark pierced the heart with the sting of an ice pick. It shook me, and I fell to the core. Chapter 27.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing, Paul.
Yeah.
Very well written. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Very well done.
Yeah,
So-
George Dismuke says, I used to get bombed a lot, but not lately. Chris Chrisman said, if God is for us, who can stand against us? Depending on which side you are on. That's right. George
Right.
Dismuke says, Paul, I love your phraseology. And I
Thank you,
agree.
George.
So beautifully written. And Chris Chrisman said, I love Zita. And then Joe
Me too.
Conjal says,
Mhm.
Joe Conjal says, brings the story to life and draws you right in. Great job. Yep.
Thank you, Joe.
And that's that same
Voice, yeah, the same voiceover guy.
same voice actor doing that voice that did the other two voices that we listened to. So
Yeah.
That's how well done these books are,
And he's working on Surviving Prague, right?
which is the
He
third.
is,
book.
and Surviving Prague will be out in October, which is not too far away, but I think it's probably closer to the end of the month than the beginning. And yeah, so that'll be the trilogy that'll be done, and hopefully people will listen to them or buy the books if you like paperbacks better. I actually do I say good things about audiobooks, but I really do. My heart is in paperbacks. I love paperbacks, and I have a ton of them here that are on my read list. I need 2 bookcases to keep them keep up the number there. But
I know.
but yeah, so there's that. So those are going to be interesting. Of course, Surviving Prague is about me actually breaking into Czechoslovakia when it was behind the Iron Curtain. So, no one in their right mind wants to break into an Iron Curtain country. They're trying to break out. but here I am. So anyways, that's what that's about.
Joe Conjal says, I read Surviving Prague and loved it.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
And George Dismuke says, talk about your new publishing company.
Which is what we planned
next
on
step.
doing.
We had planned on doing it.
And now's the time. We've already talked about your first 2 audiobooks.
Right.
So
And that great, Paul. Great writing, great audiobook, great
amazing.
voice actor.
Thank you. I really appreciate
really
that.
Nice.
From you guys, it's a special meaning. So thank you.
Oh.
Okay, so publishing. So I over my last 10 years, I heard many people, kind of wrestling between how to publish your book, and and when you have no technical skills, it's even harder to publish a self-published book. Basically, you can't self-publish if you don't know how to do that, and so you had to still go to people who can either take you on as an agent, client, or figure out who can actually publish your book and for what price. And what I've understood mostly is that most of the prices that are out there for what we would call hybrids these days, where we kind of pay a lot of money and then they publish your book, and then they'll take part of the royalties with it as well. So and I've heard prices from $10,000 to $20,000, which I think is in another world, basically, way too much and everything. So what I was trying to do originally was to help seniors write the book that's in them and get it published out there for a very, very reasonable price, I think. And we had so much interest in this across the board, from regardless of age, that I've just kind of said, okay, I'll take anybody who wants to publish their book. So what I do is not, it's not a set price for everything. It's really an individual sort of a cafeteria kind of a thing that you pick what you need to be done. So if you need editing, then yeah, that's included. And it depends on which level of editing you looking at. Most often people say, give me the minimum, do the spell checks and all that sort of thing. And that's fine. We do exactly what is requested of us in editing, and the same with the book covers. If you have a book cover, fine, I'll use that. If you don't, we'll create one, sort of thing for you. And then the publishing of it, and up until now, I've charged what I think is a reasonable price, but get it published, and that would include books and paperbacks, and also, if you wanted it, then another option is if you want the hardcover with the jackets on them as well. So there's all of that. Plus, after the fact is like, fine, I got my book out there, and I've got 3 of my best friends read it, and 2 of them hate it, and my family won't read it. And what am I going to do to sell it, right? So, which is basically my case. I don't think anybody in my family has ever read a book of mine. So, oh, I'm sorry, my son did read the first book when he was 12 years old, and he loved it. So, but anyway, so I'm also including different levels of digital marketing that we want to do. And I've gone through a phase of figuring out what is best, what helps most for an author to either build their following or to sell books or build their brand or whatever it is. Because I've gone through a whole bunch of iterations and let's say experimenting on my own stuff and to see what's working and what isn't. So I'm including all different kinds of levels of that if you're all included, if you wanted to, but it's all individual, and always the author is the boss. There's no question, like I said before, there's no question about anybody ever thinking that the author is not the boss of his own or her own work, right? So there's that. And so what we're doing, and George is actually kind of trying to talk me into to take a maybe even a less price than I think that's the fair price that I'm thinking about, and basically take part of the royalties with it, and I'm a little bit stuck on that, honestly, between all of us listening here, because I think that royalties and ownership and all that sort of thing really belongs in the author's lap, right? To say, this is my destiny, this is how I want to do this and how I don't want to do it, and so so up until now, I have not taken any royalty off of it because we don't get a lot of royalty in the best of times, right? So I'm kind of a little bit hesitant, honestly, to take anybody's royalties with me, because it's like I don't deserve them because I didn't write the book, right? So all I'm doing is presenting the service to get it out there so people can see their own destiny and realize their own destiny with their books and sort of things. So I know I'm probably getting esoterical in all this explanation, but I fully believe that what I'm trying to do is help authors fulfill their dreams and destinies, and rather than me walking away fanning myself with $100 bills. That's not what, I don't need it and don't want the extra money there. So it's it's basically to say I'm helping here. I need all the input that authors have to give, and I'm only going to do what the author wants to do. Other than like, I'm not going to put anything out that has super bad language in it, although I use some of that myself in my books. But I mean, like maybe bondage and all that sort of thing. I haven't really thought about that, but maybe that's a different story. But as far as getting the books out there, I think it's very important for the authors to see. First, to write the book is the hardest thing, right? And then to help them just get it published, so that then they can think about, okay, I've got that out there, but nobody's buying it. Why is no? Well, maybe our blog isn't good enough, and there's a cure for that. If I don't have a big following, there's a cure for that. And all those kinds of things. But basically, it's really just to get you to that point where you can say, oh, okay, what's my next step? Do I want to go back to writing, or do I want to try to make this a better product, to sell more books, for example?
So Chris Christman says, nice that you tailor it to fit the needs of the author. That's rare. Yes, it's like a la carte, whatever. You pick and choose from the menu.
Yeah.
And George Dismukes says, so it's clear that you are in the formulation stage. So sign me up to publish Return of the Jaguar.
I'm happy to do that, George.
That's the book that we read from at the beginning. Well, we didn't read from the book. We read about it.
Right.
And George Dismukes says, I love it, Paul. Comes from the heart. And Marjorie Deering says, your outlook is so refreshing.
Before we go any further, I have to apologize to George because I didn't put the pictures up earlier when I was talking, when I did the blurb, because I pretty much forgot. Not that
I don't know how you could forget these pictures, because I never will. I know. Here they come. Be prepared, people.
These are pictures of the Yanomami Indians in Brazil. And this first one is a warrior. And let me take down this banner here. There we go. And then the second one is a woman and a child.
Aww.
Okay. So those are basically characters in George's book.
In the book that we gave you the little blurb about at the beginning of the show.
So sorry to interrupt you there.
Fourth
Paul.
in the Jaguar series.
Yeah. That's okay. I've actually read a couple of chapters, and it's really good. It's gonna be a great one. Yeah.
Our daughter Patricia is in love with that whole series, and
good. She's
George wasn't going to write book 4, so I'm really glad that he decided to write.
Yeah, he's going in the right direction, and I think that's why a couple of the other things are tabled at the moment, because he had to get that out. That kind of came from the background. And, here comes the Jaguar again.
George says, "That's my cousin Irving." It's not. Marjorie Deering says, your outlook is so refreshing. I think I might have read that already. And Paul is a straight up honest man, Chris Christman says.
You're going to testify to that.
And Connie, yes, we can. And Connie Clary says, well said, Chris.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, you are, and that is straight from your heart, and we know that. I mean, we've talked about this before when we first were writing, and we wanted to do book trailers, and we were blown away by your book trailer, which now you don't think is good enough, but I thought it was wonderful.
But you were really encouraging, and kind of that sparked something in me that helped, in us that helped us move forward.
And do everything that we've done.
Yeah. So you've always been encouraging.
You've always been encouraging, and you've always wanted to help other authors, and you never charged any money for it. You just helped. And, so yeah.
Of course, you
Paul is a straight up honest man. Yeah.
You're going to make me blush now.
From 10 years ago. Oh, but yeah, this is great.
You're juggling, you've got your publishing company, you've got your audiobooks, you've got everything else going on, but yet you've got something else you're working on right now. And can you tell us a little bit about that?
It actually has to do with when a person finds themselves fighting one enemy, and the people that you thought were your friends turn out to not be your friends, so that everybody in the freaking world is after you. Basically, that's what this book is about. So, yeah.
Okay. Do you have a working title yet?
I do. It's called Dead Man's Dark Hollow.
Oh, that's a good title.
Dark Hollow. Yeah. Okay. All right.
That's a really good title.
That's probably going to be sometime next year.
Yeah, pretty close to first quarter-ish, maybe the end of the first quarter, if we could do that.
Any of the same characters?
Definitely, yeah. And actually, you'll be seeing one of the characters that that left in the first book, Bobby. I don't know if you've read the book there. Bobby was one of my informants. He actually comes back into this next book.
Okay.
Cool. Excellent.
Something to look forward to, huh?
But otherwise, Zeta and Doc are the same. Yeah.
Sounds great. Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, your writing is amazing.
Thank you.
It really is. It's really good. I don't know why you haven't sold, 1 million copies.
I don't either. But I think it might probably be with the genre, or I don't know really. That's the one thing I've been trying to work out in my head is that what do you have to do to sell a lot of books? I mean, is it that you have to know somebody at the New York Times or something? It's like, what do you have to do?
All right, I do think that that's true. I think that George said, "Oh, I can contribute a lot to that one." I don't think about what we were just talking about now, but what we were just talking about. We've had a couple of New York Times bestsellers on our show. Joe Conjal says you have to write romance. Well, not for the New York Times, the best-selling list. For USA Today, I would say yes, if that's true. Yeah. But sure. Most of those people are, connected. They really are. They have celebrity already, and so then that's how they get read, and that's how they get published, and that's how they get to be on the New York Times. We have had a few New York Times bestsellers. That's true of them. And we just had another New York Times best seller email us, and she asked to be on the show.
She's going to be on in November.
Yeah, she'll be on in November. And we can ask her, well, how did that happen? Actually, I know how it happened because she wrote a biography about somebody that was a big deal in the New York Stock Exchange. And so that's who reads the New York Times. And so that's, so. Yeah. Chris Chrisman says it's a lot who you know. It is a lot who you know, but I think a lot of it has to do with already having celebrity. And if anybody knows anything about, publishing from the big publishing houses, it's all about how much celebrity you already have, how many people you have on your, who follow you, how many people who subscribe to your blog, how many people subscribe to your newsletter. It's that they look at all of those numbers. That's what they care about. Let's see. George Dismuke says it's like Hollywood. It isn't what you know, it's who you know. Yes, we had that author on who'd had a major movie picture made out of his book. Mm-hmm. He lives in Hollywood, and he said that's definitely it. He said it's who you know.
Yeah, I agree with what George said there. It reminds me of all the young actors nowadays are all daughters and sons of established actors that have been there, and there are thousands and thousands of good actors and actresses that are available, people. Right? Yep. Talented for all these things, and you don't know anybody. I mean, I could name 20 off the top of my head that are just well known nowadays, but they come from the Hollywood establishment, basically. Yeah.
Paul Rushworth Brown says Ken Follett's wife is a member of Parliament. That helps a lot.
There you go. There's a boost for you.
Yeah, there you go. No conflict of interest there.
I love how this show is now being sought out by New York Times bestsellers. I know, Joe. Nobody's more surprised than we are. It's like amazing to us.
Yeah, you guys are doing great. This brand right here is one of the best I've seen as far as podcasts and all that sort of thing goes.
Oh, thank you. Mm-hmm. It's been I'm telling you, it's
it that way.
The authors in the audience.
Yeah.
We have the best authors in the best audience.
Yeah.
And I mean all of you authors that have been following us for years, and you're all awesome. And same with everybody in the audience. Everybody in the audience is amazing and adds so much to it. And such a great group of people, don't you think?
I do.
I mean, everybody cares about Robert White, and it's just amazing. Oh, Chris Christman said, Robin Joan, you do a great job for authors. Thank you.
Definitely do.
Well, we saw the same thing that you saw. It's like, how the heck do you sell a book in this day and age? It's really difficult. My nephew is a bestseller, but he was the helicopter pilot of from the Halliburton that flew over those pirates, in Somalia and held them off for 2 days. So he had a built-in audience. He already had people. He knew who his people were. They were military people. Then he writes military books. And we've seen that a lot. Of military people sell to military people, and they sell a lot of books. And so a lot of that has to do with that sort of a thing, your connections and who you know and what your genre is. And those of us that write mysteries, that's a tough genre, folks.
It is. Yeah. We need to know more people, right?
Yes.
There you go.
Maybe, but who do we need to know?
Yeah, I
Do
know.
we need to know murderers? I mean,
Only if they're book buyers, right?
Yeah. So one more time here, hollowmanseries.com is where you can go, and when you go to that website, you can make all his connections: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and email. Also, his email again is paul@thehollowmanseries.com.
and don't forget, if you want to be on the show with Paul and Neil Haley, email him and tell him that you're interested in doing that.
Right. Connie says, great podcast.
Thank you, Connie.
Chris Christman says, urban fantasy and sci-fi is just as tough. Oh, wow.
Yes, I think that you're right. I think you're absolutely right.
And Joe says, what a great show tonight. Thank you, Paul, and of course, Robin Joan. You're welcome. Thanks, you,
Joe.
guys.
And Connie
Nice.
Clary says, doing
Great.
great, Chris. Yes, Chris is great. He's great. Marjorie During says, thanks, Rob, Joan, and Paul, for a wonderful podcast. Thanks for being a wonderful audience.
The audience makes the show.
It
That
does.
is for sure.
Definitely.
So I think what we're going to do.
We went over, didn't we? That's
a little
okay.
bit. What is George is saying something here? I think I just spotted my problem. I know a lot of South American Indians, but they don't
read.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
You need to tell your cousin Irvin to read there.
There you go. Thanks, Paul, Robin, Joan.
Paul
Thank you,
Rochworth
Paul.
said, thanks, Paul, Robin, Joan. And Chris Chrisman says, another awesome show with a great
you.
guest. Amen. That's just,
Thank you.
that's just
So we're
the
going to
truth.
move you over there, Paul. Hold on to your
That's
seat
all right.
there. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. All right. You're all right. Okay. So next week, none other than Paul Rushworth Brown. He won't be over here in the audience, but he'll be up on the screen
Yeah.
live from Australia. We're going to wake him up early in the morning. He'll be in the future talking to us because it'll be Thursday morning there. But same time, 7 o'clock, right here where you're watching today, we'll have Paul Rushworth Brown. This Saturday again, episode rewind at 5:30, right here where you're watching this, and that is Michael Scott Clifton, Mike Clifton. And
He's great too. Yeah, Mike Clifton is great. He's on a podcast also
right,
every Wednesday afternoon, just before ours.
right. So, I guess until next time.
That's all, folks. Good
See
night.
ya.
Thanks.
Live every Wednesday, your Voice of Indie hosts Beam Weeks and Stephen Gees welcome authors, musicians, publishing industry pros, artists, and assorted creative guests for an exciting interactive hour. Call in during the show or post questions and comments on Twitter for responses in real time. Meet your favorite indie creators, learn inside tips, network, and promote your work. The link for each week's show is pinned on Twitter atop @VoiceOfIndie. And you can receive the link every Wednesday morning in your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at freshinkgroup.com. Check out Voice of Indie every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio and catch hundreds of episodes archived everywhere from our websites to our YouTube channel and Spotify.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DB.com.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com, where our shows